and we are in season 2, our hair story. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, share, subscribe. Just click subscribe, click notifications. So every time we do a show, then we'll send you a notification. So today, I'm very excited about my guest today. She is amazing, all the way from Maryland. And we received our Master Pioneer Award at the same time, the same year, 2017. We also trailed together behind the inaugural Master Pioneer. So she is a part of a very significant time in my life. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about interviewing her today. She is absolutely amazing. She's an entrepreneur. She's an advocator. She's a salon owner. She's an industry leader. She's an educator and a consultant. Please help me welcome to the show, Susan. Welcome, my darling. Welcome.
Hi, Tanae. How are you? I'm equally excited to be here with you.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on this show.
Oh, definitely. When you called, it was definitely a yes. It was just a matter of when.
And it's been so long. Like, I remember, I have to say this, because I remember when we were in New York getting our award, and you said to me, girl, remember we used to run up behind them? And I was like, girl, yes.
We were just like around the same, and we running behind Diane and your mom and all the others, and we were in awe of everybody, and we were just honored to be in their presence and to soak up everything that they taught us, you know?
Yes,
definitely.
Like, what they doing?
What
did they do?
So it was just amazing that we got our award together. That was just amazing. I was really tickled by that.
Yes, no, that was great. I was like, wow, this is, because it brought everything all together for me, in my experience. So that was amazing. I'm so happy about that. Now, I always start out asking everybody about their own hair story, right? So I want you to tell us, when did this start for you? When did this journey begin? When did you decide that you were going to be braiding and locking hair?
Well, I don't know if I decided that I was going to braid or lock hair, honestly, but I was always that teenager that my friends would allow to, even shave their eyebrows. Now I think about it, I'm like, why the hell did they make me do all that stuff with a straight razor in the bathroom, doing the eyebrows, doing little stuff to their hair and stuff like that. And I'm also an avid reader. I love paranormal, science fiction. I'm into that kind of, and I will just like any book, because I'm the youngest of 4. And during the summertime, I would just find all the books inside the closet that my siblings have read for school. And I would just devour them, right? And I don't know what book I was reading, but I came upon the word cosmetology. And when I looked the word up, I realized what it meant. And I'm like, I was about 12 years old. I'm like, that's it. That's what I want to be, and we went back. I remember we went back to school after the summer, and one of the essays we had to write was, in 10 years, where would you see yourself? And I'm like, I just learned this big word, and I'm like, I want to be a cosmetologist, do this, all that stuff, and it sounds so exciting. And, you kind of put that on the back burner, and fast forward like 6 years, I'm now living in New York. I decided I wanted to get my hair braided, and the stylist I was going to at the time, who was another stylist who set the foundation for me, she was a stylist who did chemicals, and at the time I was straightening my hair and curling it, and I was like, I want to start to go natural. I want to braid my hair, but I really want it to be done properly. And she said, oh yeah, that's one person I know is Diane Bailey. Unknowns to me, we literally lived like half a block from each other back then in Brooklyn. So
Mm.
I went to her and, of course, do the micro braids, which took all day. I'm in her chair and we spoke and we got to know each other and everything. And I don't think I told her then that I was interested in hair because, of course, dyeing is like bigger than life. And here's little me gonna tell her, oh, I want to do hair. I'm scared she turned me and like, well, girl, what do you know about hair? But I didn't say anything. But as you know, when you do tiny braids, after maybe like about 6 weeks, you need to go back and touch up your edges, right? So
Mhm.
I didn't have the money to touch up my edges. I'm 18, didn't have the money because I saved all my money to get that braid done. So I took each one out like a couple of nights because unbeknownst to her, I was watching her and I washed my hair and put them back in myself. So we were passing each other on the block, and she was like, "Oh, somebody else did your hair or something like that?" I was like, "No." I'm like, "I touched it up myself." She's like, "You did?" I'm like, "Yeah." She said, "I'm getting ready to open my salon in about 6 months. What you doing? You want to come work for me?"
Oh wow.
And a little bit of backstory. Back then, at 18 years old, my mom was here doing domestic work, originally from Jamaica. And she was supposed to go back home and get her green card, and they denied her. So here it is, 18 years old, just graduated from high school, couldn't go to college because I didn't have her green card. And I was left in her job cleaning a four-story brownstone, two kids,
Mm.
18. That was my job at 18 after I just graduated high school. All my friends are in college. And I mean, I graduated at the top of my class, okay? But couldn't go to college. But anyway, here it is. Diane said, "You want to come work for me?" I'm like, "Sure." I remember her telling this lady that I'm leaving. And this white woman looked at me and she said, "You're leaving. What else are you going to be doing? What can you do?" And I'm like, "Well, if there's nothing else I can do, I'll go back home." You know what I mean? I remember it was such a cathartic moment that like I felt so empowered, like someone offered me something and that I could leave. I didn't even know what was going to happen with Diane, but the fact that I could leave because I had another job, it was just amazing. So I walked away. A family member said, "Susan, what are you doing?" Blah, blah. But at the time I realized my mom had her future, that this is mine. I had to make a decision. And I made the decision that I could no longer hold on to something for my mom. I need to go start looking out for Susan. So that's how I started working with Tendrils. I was her first, one of her two first employees, and the rest is history.
Wow. That is an amazing story. Like really. Wow.
Yes, yes,
So
yes,
this
yes. And I stayed
industry.
there, went to cosmetology school, finished up cosmetology school, got my first degree, everything at Tendrils Hair Salon.
Mm,
Yeah.
that is amazing. See, I didn't know all of that was going on.
Yes, I always, girl, always have a lot of stuff going on. Always.
And you always so cool, calm, and collected about it. You're always like,
I know. People always like, hell no. I mean, Diane said it to me all the time. She's like, "Girl, you need to just sit down." Every time, even a couple of weeks ago, she said to me, "You just sit down and calm your ass down." Always doing something. Yes, yes, yes. My daughter said it's a sad to me. I don't know. I don't know how to be
Mm.
still. I don't know how to do it. I always have like 10 things going on at the same time.
Right, because we can ready to talk about all this stuff you got going on. I was kind of like, okay. So
Right?
now, we just celebrated the Crown Act, July
Yes.
3rd,
Mm-hmm.
and you are a member of the coalition.
Yes. Yes.
So in Maryland, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just, for people that are not aware of the Crown Act or they really don't know what it's about, can you please just enlighten us
Mm-hmm.
on what the Crown Act is and why it's important?
Well, I can never remember what the crown, everything it means. Just look that up, do Crown Act. But I can tell you at its base, it's basically trying to make people more aware of all the racism and microaggressions and all the emotional issues that women of color and men have behind wearing their hair natural in the workplace, in school, everywhere. So here is a law, which we shouldn't have one, that is telling people that it's illegal for you to fire someone, discriminate against someone because of their hair texture, their God-given hair. Like, who? How are you going to discriminate against someone about their God-given hair? Okay, and how are you going to discriminate against someone with the way they wear their hair and if it's clean and because it's a part of their culture? That's crazy. It's based on the same reason that you're going to tell a Muslim female that she can't wear her hijab. It's the same thing telling us you can't wear braids, you can't wear locks, you can't, and we just needed to go there to let them. So then again, Diane was the one who got involved with it first in New York, and I was just being supportive of her. So when my state representative at a meeting for something else that had to do with our businesses and some stuff that's going in the neighborhood that I'm a part of the community, always involved with something. He walked up to me and he's like, "Do you know about the Crown Act?" And of course, I'm like, "Yeah, I know about the Crown Act. I don't really know a lot, but I know of it." I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I'm trying to get ready to pass in the county. Are you down?" I'm like, "Sure." As soon as he hung up, I called Diane. I'm like, "Okay, send me everything that you have on the Crown Act so I can read. So when this man comes back, I'm like well versed." So that was my first, I jumped in. Other than that, I was just supporting that. Whatever she said, sign this, Susan, do this, I would just support her. But when it came on my doorstep, I was ready. You know what I mean? Because I knew exactly who to go to. I had the resources. So when it came to me, I was ready to jump in and do my part. And then being the co-founder of the Natural Hair Industry Convention, where we have a pretty big following, it just makes sense for us to be a part of the Crown Coalition because we could help them to keep that message out there.
Right, right, right. It's so interesting because even, when I was a little bitty girl and my mother was braiding hair at home, there were always these conversations about, can I wear my hair in braids?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it was kind of written in a lot of workplaces and
yes.
there was a woman, I don't even remember, I remember her, but I don't remember her name. And this was like around the time where Oprah Winfrey, when she was first came to Chicago, she had a show called AM Chicago. It wasn't even the Oprah show yet. It was AM Chicago. And this woman was working for the airlines, and she was one of my mother's clients, and she wore like a cornrow style. She was like a flight attendant or something like that. And she was being interviewed. My mother went on the show with her. She was being interviewed about a lawsuit that she had against that airline company for discriminating against her, for her hairstyle. And even though, it wasn't a law like an automatic ban, it's still, you have to fight it in court. But, that you have to go all of that route, with paying attorneys and all this kind of stuff to say, hey, this is a part of who I am.
Exactly.
So this conversation has been going on. It's kind of weird because it's like we've grown so accustomed to having to fight for that in the workplace that in 2019, when that comes up, I'm like, oh, okay, yes, we were there, So I'm really happy that even though it felt like it took a long time, and it's so intricate how.
And it's ongoing, and it's slowly but surely, because there's a lot more states, they're going on the record that they're trying to get it passed and stuff like that. But we have a lot to go.
Yeah. And 2020, but we're still working on it, and it's so intricate, the racism, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing,"
I didn't realize that it was legal for you to get fired because of your hair. It was legal. Like if your hair is in an afro, if you have cornrows, like it was legal. That has nothing to do with your ability to do your job. Right. As long as your hair is neat and it's clean and it's not causing anybody else any kind of health issues or whatever it is, then what?
Yeah. So, okay, I'm glad you're a part of that.
Thank you.
My mom is here with me now because she's in Illinois. But she just, girl, she's here now. That's it. I'm like, okay, she's retired and she's living with me in Hawaii.
That's that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. She deserves it. She so deserves
Yeah.
it. That's
So
awesome.
now you have a salon, Jaha Hair Studio.
hmm 25 years.
Oh wow. So when did
Yeah.
you decide that you were gonna have your own salon?
So I said everything in this hair industry, I did not plan it. I'm telling you. When I decided to go to cosmetology school, even though I was working with Diane, my first love wasn't really doing hair because I tell people I'm not a hairstylist. I know so many people who can like braid or do all these intricate styles around me. I never saw myself as that person. I saw myself as a hair care professional. So it's no wonder I'm involved in hair loss, and I saw myself creating products, and my first degree was in marketing, and I saw myself as a marketing manager at one of the top few hair companies back then, which was Clairol, Revlon, a couple of them
Mm-hmm.
back then. I wanted to be a marketing manager, so that's where I was going. But the more I work with clients, the more I realize I love working individual with clients. Not creating hairstyles per se, but making sure that they had healthy hair, healthy scalps, and that was always my niche from way back when. So once I left New York and I went to Maryland, of course, there's another industry pioneer, Cecilia Hines, who I met through us running behind all of them. And when I was moving to Maryland, I say, hey, I'm coming down. She's like, hey, come on, come work for me. Work with her for about a year. And then decided that I needed my own because I needed things to be done a certain way. And at that time, I decided that I wasn't going to do any extensions. I was just going to concentrate on locks and your natural hair. I was told straight up that it could not be done. Black women love too much extensions. Okay, a salon that does not do extension is not going to succeed. That's what I was told. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, I'll just go back to doing extensions, right? So the rest is history. Up to this day, my salon still does not do extensions. We still just natural hair and locks. No extensions. I don't even do lock extensions.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, and then of course my model, a lot of people ended up following my model. And of course, they add their own thing onto it. But I was very adamant about not doing an extension. And it makes sense to me now because now that I'm in the hair loss aspect of the hair industry, one of the things I do tell women of color is that hair extensions, when you have hair loss, can be detrimental. It can be more traumatic. So we have to be careful how we wear hair extensions. Yeah.
That's interesting because it probably was about that long ago that, I started doing hair extensions. Okay. But it did become a time in my life where I was just like, I'm not doing that anymore. Especially when I started doing more lock clients.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
was like the two almost did not go together. You know what I mean? And so I was almost like I had to make a vow. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm, in this. And
Yes.
that process, with the locks too, is it's like you have to be dedicated because
Yes.
it's like you're a counselor.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is
Yes.
some unveiling, right? This is
Yes.
you, baby. Okay. And when you go through that teenage thing, I've had people call me and be like, I don't know what to do. And you're talking them through that process, right? So you have to be dedicated and focus on that. It's funny because I remember I made that decision. I was like, I'm just not doing hair extensions anymore. We got to get down to the nitty gritty, girls.
Yeah.
When did you open the Peter Kindred hair care?
Peter Kindred is officially about 3 years old, but we kind of kept it under wraps because honestly, when we started, we really weren't sure. We knew that there was a gap between the identifying hair loss in the client and the time when they got to the dermatologist. By the time clients are getting to the dermatologist, it's like almost too late to reverse what's going on. Majority of the time, and I kid you not, and sometimes I'm like, I'm so mad at my colleagues. Like, we've seen this hair loss. We've seen it like 5, 6 years, even 10 years before. 80% of the clients who come into Peter Kindred have a regular hairstylist for at least 5 to 10 years. And that stylist has been working with their hair and they've seen the hair loss. Number one, they're scared to say they see the hair loss because they're scared the client is going to say you caused it. Number two, they don't want to tell the clients about the hair loss because they're scared of losing the client and also losing that money. Number three, they don't know enough about the verbiage and how to tell the clients. And then they start to try their own remedies or products that they have gotten, not knowing that hair loss is a medical issue. It's not a cosmetology issue. Okay? It's just like you having high blood pressure. Okay? You don't just, because you have high blood pressure, you just start doing some over the counter stuff. You will get it checked out. Like, say for instance, me right now, I'm taking my my blood pressure pills, but I'm also slowly with natural. I started taking it, lower it, and then I get to know more myself, and I start weaning myself off of that high blood pressure because I'm taking natural supplements. So the same thing should happen with hair loss. We go to the medical professional, dermatologists who specialize in hair loss. They are the experts, not the trichologists, not the cosmetologists, not the natural hairstylists. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, especially when I mention trichologists, but they are not the experts because they're not doctors. Okay? Maybe in Europe they are, but not in the US of A. They are not the doctors. They cannot diagnose and they cannot treat the hair deep down. Yes, they have all these little gadgets and stuff, and you can look in and you can see. And believe me, you have a lot of really good, responsible trichologists, a lot, who work closely with dermatologists. But we are seeing more and more Black women having hair loss because us as professionals, as I said, we don't know when to tell our clients to see a dermatologist, and then when we see it, we don't know what it is, and then we try to diagnose it ourselves, and as hairstylists, we can't diagnose. That's a medical thing. So, I'm very passionate about this, as you can see, and I really, really want, to educate my stylist, colleagues more, to let them know that it's okay when they see a little spot to immediately tell their clients. Because we have a lot of influence over our clients. They trust us. So if we have a dermatologist or two in our Rolodex, and we're like, hey, here are 3, 4 dermatologists that I recommend, get an appointment with one of them. Prevent is better than cure. If it's just alopecia areata, which most of the time grows back, at least you want some eyes on it. You know what I mean? Because it can spread, and get to be alopecia, totalis, like the Congress woman that happened to her. You know what I mean? It can spread your bald, or with a lot of clients that I see, it grows back in. But you want eyes on it, and we are on the front line of hair loss. As hairstylists, natural hairstylists, braiders, we are on the front line. As we take that responsibility very serious, we can prevent a lot of hair loss getting really to a point of no return where clients have no options but to cover it up with a weave or something like that. I think we can, a lot of it can be reversed, especially traction alopecia.
So what kind of things are you doing in the wellness center?
Well, I'm going to tell you, and I tell people, that my job is simple, because guess what? My hands are so messed up today. I'm not trying to do nobody's hair for like hours and stuff. My days of that is done. Okay, my job, my job in the wellness center is to be real with the clients. Like, listen, you're at this point, you have a big spot in your hair. I don't have any time. You don't have no time for me to be like, tiptoeing around you. I need to say to you, and I care, and I want to make sure. I need to say, girl, you are bald. Okay?
Mhm.
So what are we going to do now? Now, the dermatologist can't do that because of, the oath that they take and, the way how they see it's your doctor. So you're scared to whatever. But on the other end, being the wellness professional and the cosmetologist, I can cross the line. We can do more hand holding, and we can say, well, I'll hold your hand, right? I'm holding your hand and I'm being supportive, but I'm also going to be real with you. You're bald. What you going to do about it? Are you going to trying to figure out, use that product, this product, or are you going to get a biopsy so you can know exactly what's going on, so we can treat it at the root and we can know exactly and you can get an informed decision. Like Dr. Kendrick, if you see when she is finished, the patient's client, they come out of a hair loss consultation with her, 30 minutes, like their head is like spinning. Because first of all, she gives them so much information and she writes everything down individually. Like she's not printing out a whole bunch of papers. She sits with them and she draws the hair follicle and everything, and she explains everything is what they come out. It's thoroughly explained, right? And they know that it may be this, but she said always say I need a biopsy because she wants to be sure that she's treating exactly what's wrong,
And
right?
who
So
is
I
Dr.
am the
Kendrick?
bridge. I am the bridge between her and the stylist. Okay,
Okay,
so
okay.
she will come right out of the room with the client, and she was like, Susan, I think this client has traction alopecia. So until she gets an appointment with me, can you do a consult and maybe start treating her, with your natural herbs and all that kind of stuff, so you keep an eye on it, and then we make sure that she gets a biopsy. And once you get that biopsy, Dr. Kendra and I have come up with a few natural remedies that I use on the clients, and in conjunction with her medical her procedures, or their medication, or whatever, if they're getting cortisone shots, or if they're doing PRP, which is platelets rich plasma, or they're going to get like what you call it, implants,
Mm-hmm.
what
All of
there's
that.
everything. So I'm just like the in between, and I talk a lot about products, how to use products, what type of hairstyle to wear while you're going through your hair loss journey, and I break it down, and I'm the one who gets all the no, I can't wear my hair natural. You'd be surprised. You be surprised. No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, I can't wear my hair natural. I'm going to do that.
Girl, you
I
know
can't
I'm
do
not
that.
surprised.
No, and you should see older women are like telling me that when I tell them like the best thing for you now is just cut it down, wear it natural, let it start growing in, because your natural hair gonna fill in, your curls are gonna fill right in. They look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, I can't do that. Okay, I'm like, and I look at women, I'm like, what do you mean you can't wear your hair natural? That's how you were born. So
Yes,
we have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. So that's why it's a wellness center. We also have a support group. We haven't been able to meet because of COVID, but we were meeting once a month. Where women just come in and just talk about their hair loss journey. It gets very emotional. I've had women break down in front of young women, break down in front of me. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do to my hair? I can't let my husband see my hair like this. And it's very, very emotional. I'm telling you, I will have maybe 4 or 5 clients for the day, and all I did was consultations. But when I leave, I'm emotionally tired
Mm-hmm.
because you take on that emotion. Haven't done literally done a hair all day. All I do is consultations. What are we going to do? How are we going to work on your hair loss with in conjunction with the dermatologist? And I'm emotionally and physically tired.
Girl, I hear you. I understand that. So tell us who Dr. Kindred is and how you guys connected.
Dr. Shoshana Kendrick, she is like the bomb. Okay, you talk about down to earth, like literally, right? She has like one, two, three, four. and my room make 5 rooms that she has that she sees clients, and she's the only doctor. And she goes back and forth, and literally, she greets all her patients the same way. She literally goes in like, "Hey, how you doing?" And literally, that's her thing. She's like so full of energy, but she is like the best way I can describe Dr. Kendi is like she's that smart homegirl, like so smart, like amazing and willing to share and just to be real with you, but they can be very, very serious when she needs to be, and it's all about business. And me being there, I'm learning from her. We learn from each other. And the way how I met Dr. Kendrick was through another dermatologist when I was doing that whole stage with Shea Moisture through Diane again, my mentor. Started working with Shea Moisture. Shea Moisture hired a dermatologist, and we started working together, Dr. Yolanda Lindsay. And Dr. Lindsay, of course, opened up my eyes to a lot of hair loss, and I was very interested. I was even looking into going to trichology school and all that kind of stuff. But when I investigated it, I'm like, they're just teaching me about the science and the biology of hair that I can look in a book and get. I don't need to know about, I need to know exactly what to do, right? So I decided not to do trichology. But then I met her, and she created this course for hairstylists called Getting to the Roots. And I did that 12-week course with her, and I tell you, the book that I wrote, everything is still my Bible to this day. I go through it. The books, the pages are dog-eared. I'm always going back. And so she started me on that journey. So then when she realized I was in Maryland, she said, "Oh, I'm going to introduce you to my girlfriend, who's a dermatologist in Maryland." She introduced me to Dr. Kendrick. I became her patient for my hair and my skin because I have CCCA and female pattern baldness. CCCA is the number one hair loss for Black women. It's an inflammation in the top of your scalp, and it just spreads out. And female pattern baldness is the number one hair loss for all women. So I have like two of the worst, right? And as you can see, I can braid my hair because I've been getting treatment, and I know exactly how to treat my hair. I've got significant growth because I understand now that as Black women, we really need to protect our curls. If we protect our curls and we're not pulling on it and yanking it and doing all the other stuff, we can literally slow down hair loss. Like CCCA and female pattern baldness, I'm always going to have it. But just like high blood pressure, I have to control it. So there's certain things that I can't do anymore, right? No, I can't, when I take these braids out, I'm going to rest my hair for about 2 months before I even try to put them back in. And even when I decided I haven't worn braids since I was 28, right? And we're not going to tell you how long ago that was. But anyway, but when I decided to put these braids in, right, I drove 3 hours to find someone to braid my hair how I wanted to be braided, who has a soft touch, who wasn't going to be pulling on my hair, right? But I also knew that if I put those braids in and they felt like my scalp was on fire and it felt really, really, really tender, I was going to take them out. I wasn't going to take any chance, right? But I didn't have to do that because I know exactly what to do. I have a topical steroids that once a week I wipe my scalp out and I put my topical steroids to keep away the inflammation so I don't have any breakage or anything like that. And when I went back to get my hair around the edges done and the braider took my hair out, you know what she said to me? She's like, "Oh my God, this is the first time I've taken anyone braids out and there's no buildup and it's not dirty and it's all that kind of stuff." I said, because I didn't put a whole bunch of gel on my hair. I wiped my scalp out with water. I didn't spray all that stuff that they say can cleanse your scalp. I used pure warm water, and I just used what the dermatologist told me to use on my scalp. Keep it real simple, real simple. So those are the things that I try to tell my clients. It's just too much products out there. I just came off a webinar because this weekend is the National Medical Association, and I was honored to be a part of this distinguished panel with all these dermatologists. And my topic was the relationship with dermatologists and cosmetologists. And one of the presentations was about hair products. And one of the takeaways was, do you know 84% of the ingredients in hair products marketed to Black women is not even on the bottle.
Mm.
It's not even on the bottle. The ingredients is not even on the bottle. 84%. Our products are more toxic than the products made for white women. Okay, and this is straight from the people who are out there doing the research. So by us hairstylists going to the hair shows and getting these products because someone said, "Oh, it's gonna do this for your hair, do that for your hair." We really don't know. We really don't know. That's why I always tell people keep it simple. I have a problem when I see a product that says, "Oh, I'm a growth oil," and I'm a this I can grow. No, you can't. You can't. You can't. You can't tell someone that your oil is gonna grow somebody's hair. It might moisturize it, make it have a little more elasticity so that it doesn't break off. But your growth depends on if your follicle is healthy. If you don't have a healthy follicle, if there's no follicle, or if your follicle is getting smaller and your hairs are miniaturizing, because your follicle has a direct correlation to the texture and the length and the density of your hair, then that product cannot do anything to your follicle. It has to go deeper than that. It has to be some kind of injection. It has to be some kind of PRP. It has to be you eating healthy, and all that stuff have to all work together.
I'm so glad that you're doing this because, this is maybe when I was like 17, 18, I was really introduced to the product world, back in the Soft Sheen days and Johnson days and all of that kind of stuff. Now there's so many products, you know what I mean? It's hard to keep up. But back then, and Namaste, organic root stimulator. And so that's hair loss too. So and we've done so much damage to ourselves trying to look a certain way. And then by the time we get to us, it's like now you have to kind of unveil and accept who you look like, which is better than what you're looking like right now anyway. But it's just interesting to see all of that abuse that we do and work and I've been in the labs and I've seen, I was working with the tricholoscope back in the day and I've seen all of the like they how they was gluing the hair in and the glue gets clogged in the follicle and that kind of stuff. So a lot of our problem is definitely self-inflicted. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And just, part of us not being able to accept who we are. And the products are being marketed almost like as an emotional tactic for us.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, this is going to grow your hair. So every time I have a client that's asking me about these, I'm like, you don't need all of that.
No, you don't. You really don't. You really don't.
So all you need to do is stop with the chemicals. Bam, bam, accept, what you look like, which is gorgeous. You're beautiful just the way you are. And then work on your diet. Because these are the things that you can control. These little snake oils, that's what you call them. They're not, it's a million of them. And there's no one that's going to give you this magic trick, So and I'm not so much in that conversation as much as vocally as I used to be back in the day when I was in the industry. Now I'm just sitting here on this little island.
I'm like, you're always in the industry. You're always in the industry.
Well, it's been so far away. I feel like out of touch. Like I want to go to all the shows too. But I'm glad that you brought that up because we are so bamboozled by all of these things that are marketed to us because of our mental illness.
Yeah. But I'm specifically talking to my colleagues. I'm talking to the professionals. We have a responsibility. Okay, we have a responsibility to tell our clients when we see a little spot, when we say the hair start to thin. Like literally when you do your clients, you're supposed to start parting down the center of their hair and looking to see if their parts are getting wider. It's our responsibility because too many Black women are having hair loss. And why? It shouldn't be, right? I tell everyone, just see, prevent is better than cure. See a dermatologist. First, find out what's going on. Sometimes it's just breakage, and they just need to get, have a regular routine, of hair care. And then that's something that as a stylist I can help them with is regular hair care routine, how to take care of your hair. Like, don't be jumping from one product to other product. Use a product for at least 3 months. Unless you get an immediate reaction to the product, use it for a while. Don't put another product in the regimen until you can see what it's going to do for your hair and all that kind of stuff. We just have too much. It's like it's just too much stuff going on. Too many products. Too many products. I mean, I'm glad we have the products that we can choose from because before we didn't have any. But we need to give each product a try. Before we switch to something else or say something else does not work. Or we need to have realistic expectations for products, right? If your hair is kinky, coily, curly, right? The product can't make your hair wavy unless it's a chemical.
See what I'm saying?
You need to be realistic.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I mean, we can have curls, but our curls are kinky, spirally curls. It's not wavy curls. Mm-hmm. Now, if something makes your hair wavy, guarantee you just use a chemical.
Mm-hmm. 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 And that's that. Exactly. That's how we're playing on that mental illness. Mm-hmm. And then the thing that I do want to say about this that is important is that a stylist is the first person to see that spot.
Yes. We are on the front line, as Dr. Lindsay said. The stylists are on the front line of hair loss. We are usually the one who sees it first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't even imagine not letting them know because I think that's a comfortable space for me to be like, okay, girl, I'm taking care of you. And this is what I'm saying. Yeah. So let's come up with a plan.
Yeah, I have had clients who told me they had no idea they were having hair loss because their stylist never said anything. They were in shock. They went every 2 to 3 weeks and they did not tell them. They do whatever, they comb it over. They didn't touch their hair until one day when it got really, really bad or they're combing through and see all the hair. That's when they realized they didn't know that it had gotten that bad. And sometimes we tell them, no, this has been happening for a while. It didn't happen overnight. Your hair has been thinning for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I want to ask you about this because I think this is just amazing. Tell us about your class that you're doing in the correctional center.
Okay, so education has always been a major part for me. So, well, the class is not going on right now because of COVID and stuff, but I've always been teaching. Like everyone who works in my salon, I taught them from scratch. I never hired someone who worked for someone else. Because I always want people to do things the way how I want it to be done. So I taught everyone. So education was always a major part. So but once I'm getting older in the industry, I don't want to be standing behind the show. I always knew that earlier on that, past a certain age, I didn't want just behind the chair to be my own thing. I needed to be out there doing other things. And so one of my clients worked at a correctional facility, and she said, there's an opportunity for a program. Now, go back like about 10 years, I actually was at a seminar, and at the seminar was the head of the jail. And I remember when they told me to go up and say, well, why are you at the seminar? What do you want to do? And at the seminar, I said, I want to help young women who don't have a career path. I want to teach them how to, work with their hands so they can become entrepreneurs and stuff like that. And he came up to me, he's like, come visit me at the jail because, it sounds like a program that we can have. I went, visiting him, but for some reason it just didn't work out. So 10 years later, here's my client who works there, and she said, here's an opportunity. I said, I went there when this so-and-so person was there. She said, oh, they weren't ready yet, but now they're ready. She said, put your curriculum and everything together. I said, girl, I have to put curriculum together. All I have to do is print it off my computer. I've been having it for a long, long time. So I printed it off, went to 2 interviews, did the class because it was mostly using hands, so no kind of tools or implements that they can hurt each other with, hands, plastic, comb brushes, whatever it is. That's what we had to use. And started out with the inaugural program, rave reviews, and did quite, I think, about 4 or 5 more after that. So we'll see if it's going to continue. I can tell you that it was definitely not easy. Here, and to also meeting some of these young men and young women of color, and the stuff that they're out there going through with family and stuff. It gets very emotional. I've cried a few times in the classes. They have cried to me. When I see some of them, I see my son, and it's like, I get emotional. I remember when leaving some of them, one was like 17, 18, and every time he saw me, he would just have this big smile. And I just remember when I was leaving, I look at him and I say, like, please, please don't come back. That's what I would tell them. Don't come back. Please don't come back. Just do something different. Try something different. And I would just talk to them. Sometimes I'd be in the class, they're like laughing with me, especially the guys, because they're like, Miss Peterkin, you just beating up on us. Like, oh, yeah, because I feel like y'all my son. I just want to like slap y'all because like talk some sense with y'all. So it was teacher, it was mother, it was sister, it was, and I saw the young girls who I had one young lady who was there because she left her children to go to work. And it was a situation where she had to go, but her mother or sister was on the way, like 20 minutes away. Within that 10, 20 minutes, the kids were making noise, and there was a 13-year-old there with the rest of them. They were making noise, and instead of the neighbor knocking on the door and say, hold it down, you have a mother you see her going to work every day. Just say, hold it down. The neighbors call the police. That's why this young girl is in jail. Like, what? Bright, wants to work, was not lazy, taking care of her kids, wasn't asking for any help. You know what I mean? So it's like, so those kind of situations kind of got to me. It got a little bit tiring, and I was really exhausted when I left there. But when I did help, I could see that I helped, and I could see that they really loved help. When I walk into class, their face lit up, to see me. The little gifts that I got, I still have them that they wrote. I mean, one of them wrote and tell me that I was the first person to teach her about her culture. I mean, that's 20-some years old. You know what I mean? So, it's helping on a whole different level. And I really love doing it.
Yeah, that's the work. We've done some classes in the jail. My mother, she did a couple of classes in the jail, and that's it's really like you just go in there with these little gifts, from the ancestors, and saying, hey, there's possibilities that come from within you, and cause a lot of those situations are like just the one that you said, where it's just like, really, those are the standards for us as people of color, is that our whole life is just torn apart because of we trying to make it, So it's
and one thing that made it work in the state of Maryland. The state of Maryland, they say that we don't need a license. That's to do natural hair. So basically, we can use that to our advantage, which I don't agree with. But I said, well, let's use it to our advantage, because these people can literally leave jail and stay at home and create a business. They don't have to go out there to put themselves out there for someone to say, oh, no, I can't hire you because you have a record. They can literally create a business themselves. So that was one of the selling points for the program.
And that's great. That's the kind of stuff that we really need to build.
And they got college credit for it also.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
Because that was through that it was done through the community college. Because I was already teaching the course at the community college, and that's why they approached me and said, let's take it to the jail, because the community college was responsible for the classes at the jail.
I see. Oh
Mhm.
wow. Oh, that's brilliant. So I gotta ask you about the natural hair care industry convention.
Mhm. Mhm.
Tell us about, because I know you're partnered with that project, and how long have you been doing that?
So we started in 2014, and
Hmm.
the first one was like a round table get together just to say, hey, this is what we want to do. We need your input. And so we had it at a restaurant and just asked everybody their idea. And 2015 was the first convention in Baltimore. My partner back then, co-founder Angela Walker, and I did it together. Last year, she decided, like, look, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore because it's hard doing a thing. You have to put your own money in, and you're not really making a profit. But this is, I said, I tell people, it's a labor of love for me, and I just know that the time is going to come when it's just going to bust wide open. I see it. God showed it to me. I totally believe in it. So that's why I'm sticking with it, and I feel that we as natural hairstylists, we have a whole bunch of people out there, amazing people who are teaching, doing classes online and stuff, but we don't have that one place that we can come together like back in the day.
Right, right,
Come
right.
together,
Yes.
hang out together, network together, love on each other, lift each other up, teach each other. So that's what the convention is all about.
That's amazing. Because, that is where we came from. When I
Mm-hmm,
was doing
mm-hmm.
my mother's interview, that's how you and I met.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's
And
right.
I think that it was so important. Um, and still, I'm very impressed by how all of these sisters got together. Nothing was stopping them. It wasn't like they lived
No.
down the street from each other. They were coming from all over the world to get
Mm-hmm.
together to support this movement. And
Yes. Yes.
so much togetherness that we came from. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
when I saw that you were doing that project, I'm like, oh, Susan is taking it back. This is so
Yeah. Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I thought it was one of the reasons why the relationship between Angela and I was important because she was a millennial, and
mm,
I'm, quote unquote old school. So to bring those two worlds together was very, very important. You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean? Because I had all the connections to pull all the people in. And
mm-hmm,
she had the social media and that young energy, you know what I mean,
mm-hmm,
to do
mm-hmm.
certain things. So it worked together.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely need those millennials right now, especially with all the
We can
technology.
learn so much from each other. So much.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, girl, it has
I know we
been.
could be on here
I
for
know
another
we good
couple of
all day,
hours.
but it's been
And
a
look,
joy and a
we talking
pleasure.
industry stuff. We haven't even gotten into family,
I
all
know.
that kind of stuff. What's going on? Because girl, I know that's a whole other
I'm
conversation.
telling you. Oh, this is what I wanted to tell you.
Mhm.
Now every single show, I've been saying we need to come together and have our moment together in Hawaii.
Oh,
Just
I'm down.
master pioneer, whatever we want to do now.
Definitely down. We definitely down. Let's get together and plan something. Definitely
Hmm.
down for that.
So, and a
Definitely down.
couple of years ago, maybe a few, Diane was kind of, putting it in my head like, okay, okay, okay. I'm
Mhm.
totally open to that. And I think we should do it. I think it'll be so
we've been talking about a retreat.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about a retreat. So maybe this is what we need to do with the retreat. So maybe we can plan that for maybe like the next 2 years or something.
Okay.
Start planning for now so people can start putting their monies aside and all kind of stuff and figure out where we're gonna have the retreat and stuff. So maybe I'll talk to Diane so we can get that together.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll talk to you. Yeah.
I'm excited. I want to do it so bad. I think about it. I see it. I'm like, this is where we're gonna be. I already know where we're gonna be. I'm
All right.
already
Awesome.
up
Awesome.
and everything.
I'm definitely ready. Man, I'm missing the beach right now. It's ridiculous. I'm telling you. Can't travel. Because by now I would have gone to the beach about 2 times. Can't go anywhere. You know what I mean?
I
So
know,
definitely.
girl. Trust me. I know this has been the weirdest. time that I have ever experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, girl, I didn't even think I would be alive for this. You know, I'm like, I knew something was gonna happen, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
didn't know when or where or what. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think we've been doing a good job. You know, just kind of hurtling through, getting in
Mm-hmm.
touch with ourselves, because that's been really important in this time. You know, I know everybody's having their different experiences, but for me,
Yes.
as a part of my experience, um, I've just been kind of gravitating towards inner reflection and just, you know, getting things done because things change so quickly. You never know
You never know
what's
what's gonna
going to
happen.
happen.
Yep.
So for me, during this time, it's like, okay, I'm not really doing much else, so there's no excuses there. Even with this show, I've been talking about it for a long time. Okay, bam, let's do it. What
Let's
else
do
we
it. Yeah,
doing? You
that's
know what I
it.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah,
my
yeah.
motto
Definitely.
lately is,
I've made, yeah, I've made some major changes. Yep. One
yeah.
of the changes that I made since this happened, I haven't worked weekends and I love it. Monday to Friday. That's it. I work. I'm off on Saturday and Sunday. And it's so amazing. Like yesterday, just to be in the store with my daughter, just
Yes.
on a Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
going to pick up my granddaughter and bring her back over on a Saturday when I used to be so tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it. So I just decided, like, okay, COVID, I was home for 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, that's it. That's what it feels like to be home on a Saturday. All right, I'm not doing it no more.
I know, girl. I'm definitely slowed down on that chair, you know,
Yeah.
because you know how it does your body and all that kind of
Oh my
stuff.
gosh. Oh, girl. Right
Hmm.
now they want to do surgery on my hand. I'm trying to figure out how not to, but I think I might have to. And I already have surgery on it already. So, whew, Jesus.
Yeah, girl, tell me about it. Thank you so much for coming on this show, Susan. It's
Oh,
been a
thanks for having me. It was fun.
pleasure. Yes. So next week, Ayana Card is going to be on
Oh,
the
okay,
show.
cool, cool.
So same time, same place. Make sure you
All right,
tune
I'll be
in.
watching.
And everybody else out there, click, like, subscribe, share, all of that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um, and until next time, I will see you later.
See you.
Aloha.
Bye. Bye.